Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into the Boxing Authorities. Joining me, as always, Luther Dupree Jr., Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. What's going on, guys?
Oh, man, excited, man. Excited as always.
All right. Jim, you doing all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. All right, well, you know what? Luther, over the years, always talks about a couple guys. Ortiz, right?
Very underrated.
And who's the other guy?
Rigondeaux is another
Rigondeaux,
guy.
Benavidez.
Benavidez.
Benavidez, right.
David Benavidez
But
is the future, man.
you talk about Rigondeaux all the time. He had a big fight last week. Floor is yours. Tell us what happened.
Listen, I think he won the fight.
Do you really?
He
Okay.
wasn't active, but, hey, he was doing a lot of sticking and moving. He wasn't
A lot
doing a lot
of
of
moving.
sticking.
He was
More
doing a
moving
lot
than
of moving.
sticking.
He was doing a
But
lot of
I
moving.
think he won that fight. Once again, he went in there, you know.
He should have Mayflower on his back.
Canelo Alvarez has weight contracts. You know, he has rehydration clauses. Did you see how much bigger that guy looked than him?
I know.
He rehydrated to about a
Yeah,
middleweight. He
that's
was about
ridiculous.
154.
That's
So you wanted
ridiculous.
him to stand there with a guy 30 pounds higher than him and get destroyed.
Good point.
He also, his other loss was against Lomachenko, who looked about 30 pounds bigger than him.
Right.
You know, it's a shame. This guy has been ducked for so long. He should have got the bigger fights. But now he's 40 fighting these young guys. He did a lot of moving. He survived. I thought he might have won the fight. Wasn't very exciting. It's a shame at 40 he has to keep fighting these young guys because he couldn't get them when he was at the right age. But definitely did a lot of moving. It may be time for him to hang it up possibly. You know,
think so?
He's well into his 40s.
Oh, there's
he's
no doubt.
listed as
There's no
40,
doubt.
but he's probably
Yeah.
closer to 50.
Yeah. But you know what, though? He wasn't out of shape.
He wasn't out of shape.
He looked good. He's
I just
still
wish
quick.
I wish he still would have threw a little more, but you know.
He had a great line, Jim, after the fight. He said, the Philippines has a great fighter, Manny Pacquiao. He didn't give this guy any credit. What'd you think?
Well, I think that Luther's book of excuses is now in the volume 2. Hey, listen,
Oh,
this guy was the rabbit. I mean, he ran. I don't know how he got a split decision. He got beat, half to
didn't get
death. He
beat.
was,
He wasn't
like you
getting
said,
hit.
he was scared to death. But I mean, he was
Fought a middleweight,
He,
Jim.
he was sticking with some real hard punches. He threw some, that left hand is still lethal, but you cannot, unless you're Jimmy Young, you cannot run like that in a boxing ring and expect
He
to
wasn't
win.
running. He
It
was
a
sticking and
disgrace.
moving. He was
It a
moving.
disgrace
Moving
to
is one thing.
boxing.
was
Sugar Ray
moving.
moved, Muhammad moved. He kind of ran a little bit. Yeah.
To have
He
all
kinda ran
that
a little bit.
stamina,
I thought he was going. I thought he was going to hurdle out of the ring.
He should have been in the Olympics representing that. Well, what do you think's next? I mean, you said he should retire. What do you think he should do next, Rigondeaux?
No, he's not going to retire. I'm just saying.
Well, what's he going to do at 40? He can't go back where he came from. I think there's, hey, he's still an outstanding fighter.
He's a name.
He's a great fighter.
And he's a tough fight for
He
anyone.
just fought a guy that was bad for him.
That was-
I
that
wouldn't-
was
I
a
wouldn't-
middleweight.
I wouldn't ask for a rematch. That's for sure.
That was but he wasn't getting battered.
Yeah, I
Jim,
wouldn't ask-
are you saying
I
he was
wouldn't-
getting battered that fight?
Pardon me?
Was he getting battered?
He got beat from pillar to
No,
post.
no.
I think if
And
they'd
they
have
took a
put some
knock-
eyes in the back of his head,
They
he
took a-
really got
they took a
knocked.
knockout
Yeah,
away.
he couldn't hit him in the back of the head.
They took a knockdown from him. Did he get knocked?
Yes, he
Yeah,
got
that was a
knocked down.
knockdown.
That was a
That was a
knockdown. I counted 2 knockdowns.
Oh,
man.
here you go.
That first one was definitely a knockdown. Referee was in on it.
No.
He can be bossy, right?
It's a shame that he has to keep fighting at this because he didn't get those big fights.
And why don't you think he got him?
Well, I think it's a Cuban bias. He's not getting them. Luis Ortiz is not getting them. Aris Laura Landy is not getting the big fights. He was robbed against Canelo
Do
Alvarez.
you think that
They don't-
maybe they don't bring enough to the table financially?
here you
And here's
go.
the thing: he's a risk. He's a good fighter who maybe doesn't bring enough financially. So why should I risk it? If I'm gonna get paid big, yeah, then I'll fight him.
Listen,
But same with
now
Ortiz.
now you're justifying this.
No, I'm being honest. Ortiz,
exactly.
Rigondeaux,
Now
they're
you're doing
both
that.
good.
Yeah, now
They're
you're
both
doing
good.
that. What did we just talk about? A level fighter, B level.
okay.
No. If you're the best, you should fight the best. I don't want
But
to
it's
hear
also
about
a
this.
business.
Listen, we need to see the best fight the best.
I'm with you.
Listen,
As a fan.
Listen, period.
Yes,
You know,
I'm
back
with
in the
you.
day, we didn't hear Ali,
Right,
the A
you're
side,
right, you're
you're
right.
the B side. No,
You're right.
he fought Frazier 3 times. He fought Foreman. He
But
fought
what did you tell
Liston.
me about
One
social media?
belt.
So what's he tell me and you coming to the 2000s?
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
I'm
Come to
talking
the
about the A side, B side.
Okay.
I'm saying it's social media is one thing, but this A side, B side, we shouldn't be hearing about. I'm getting 60-40. You could get this
I'm with you.
70-30. I don't
would like
like
to
all
see
that.
it. No, but I think a fighter. Well, I'm not a fighter. I think the promoter is saying he's too dangerous for us. He's too tough to fight. He's tough
And
to
that-
hit.
and that's
He's
what-
good.
and that
But
kills
is he
the
going to?
sport.
I understand that. But if he can get millions and millions of dollars for a guy who maybe is less of a risk, why not do it?
So you're justifying
Because
C-level
records now are
fighters.
important.
So you're
I'm not justifying it,
I
I'm
want to
saying
see
what it
A
is.
level versus A level.
Oh, I do too.
Okay,
I
but
do
you
too.
sound like you're justifying
No,
these guys.
I'm just telling you the way
fighting
it is.
easier
I'm
fights.
telling
I
you
don't
what it
know,
is.
Claudio.
I'm telling you what it is with both Ortiz and Ortiz can hit. Why
Or-
should we fight him?
The only one who stepped
And is he
out
gonna bring
there
enough
was
money?
Wilder. How many of these heavyweights are really going to bring enough? Enough?
Whole
That's why
lot.
nobody's-
No,
Whole lot
three.
over the par.
Three. Fury, Wilder, Joshua. Outside of that, there's a big drop off
Right.
between money.
That's why
so
there's
all
no
those
fights.
guys are at the same level. So Ortiz should get that Andy Ruiz or Dillian White.
Why can't he fight that next level?
Pardon me?
There's fights at the next level. Why only fight that bottom level?
He's in the top 5.
No.
He should be
no,
fighting
no,
those
no,
guys.
no,
What
no.
are you talking
He should
about,
be
Jim?
fighting, period. If he can't get one of the top 4, take one of the bottom
They
5.
won't even fight him.
Why? Why would
They
mean?
won't even
They'll
fight
be
him.
their biggest payday.
What do you
They
mean?
won't even
There's
fight
a
him.
promoter.
He's trying to
he
get
get
those
with the
big
right
fights.
promoter, he'll get some fights.
Listen, that's another thing. These guys are fighting 1 or twice a year,
Right.
And
That's true.
and they're losing it. You know, these guys who fight once a year, they come back, they don't look as good
They don't even
because
fight
they're not
3
active.
times a year
Right.
anymore.
What's that
And I'm
got
with
to
you.
do
They get
with
stale.
anything?
I'm just saying.
What's that got
You
to
saw
do with
we
it?
talked about Jamal Charlo and Jermell Charlo. Last year they looked good. Almost a whole year later, they didn't look
They
as good.
never look good to me.
Yeah, they look good.
Jim never
They-
liked them.
What are you? And you're completely wrong. They got all the belts. Between the two of them, they got 4 of the belts in the division.
and what? And they can't draw. They couldn't draw flies if they was manure.
Hey, I
But
saw.
they-
I saw the stadium full.
Well, who
Put
wants
your
to see
glasses
'em?
on.
Who wants to see 'em?
When you watch
Who
the
wants to
fight
see
with
'em?
the glasses
Where-
on, you
where-
might be able to
where-
see
where-
that.
Where they want to see them at? Who wants to see
Listen,
them?
was Texas Field?
Can they
Was it
fill out
Texas Stadium
PNC
Field?
Bay?
Oh,
Can they
easy,
fill out?
easy.
Can they fill out Heinz Field?
They
Don't
filled
nobody
out Jerry
know, man.
Jones Stadium. Jim.
Nobody know, man.
You just mad because they got orange hair.
Man, if somebody booked them in the Mountaineer Stadium, they burn their couches.
Oh man, Jim. You're mad because they got hair and you got
They
you
burn that town
wearing
down.
Scullies.
Now, what about Casemiro? What do you think it was next for him?
I think he has a name. He's young. Has a title. I think he can get in the mix. I wasn't really that impressed with him. Not really impressed.
But-
He's a B-level fighter. Good B-level fighter.
Jim mentioned the name Jimmy Young. Jimmy Young was hard to look good against.
yes,
Okay, because he wasn't a dancer, so to speak, but he was just hard to hit.
Yes.
He was hard to look good. Do you think that Rigondeaux was just, especially the way he moved?
You say
Okay.
right, I say moved.
Moved.
Listen,
Yeah, it
nobody
made him
looks
look-
good against Rigondeaux.
Right.
Other than, Lomachenko got him a couple times. But, he's a difficult fighter. He's skilled. He has that Cuban style. He
Yeah.
moves a lot. So you're not going to get a lot of big shots on him.
Okay.
What's
So-
the Cuban style?
His style. Arislanda Landy. You know what I mean? Luis Ortiz.
Define it.
Listen, man, they move a lot, stick and move.
Ortiz moves?
Well, not Ortiz. He's
Okay.
a big
I was
heavyweight.
gonna
He's
say
a big
that.
heavyweight.
All right.
But Landy moves a lot. Rigondeaux moves a lot. That's more the Cuban style. Luis Ortiz is a whole different style. Southpaw, big.
I like the distance that Rigondeaux had, man. You couldn't hit him with a mop. Yeah, but,
Listen,
whatever.
hey, it's different styles. Styles make
I
fights.
guess.
Stop hating on him. Stop hating on the Cubans, Claudio.
No.
You
love
give
the
the
Cubans.
Italians love, but you hate on the Cubans.
Love the Cubans. Love the Cubans. I like Mark Cuban. I think he's doing a hell of a job with the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, I figured
But,
you would like him.
No.
Luis
All right.
Ortiz.
All right. He's all right. I like him. He's top 5 guy. He's all right. But again, that's like saying I'm the tallest one in my family, but that's another
gosh.
story. Talks are back on for Canelo Plant, which I'm really hoping happens. You and I have been on Plant since we kind of heard him. We like his story. We like him. Now, it looks like talks are back on. I really do want to see that. Thoughts?
Listen, I am so sick of all the contract disputes
Got a
when
point there.
Canelo fights.
Right.
It's always something. It's, weight closets. It's rehydration closets. It's this, it's that. Come on with this. He's another one. A-side, B-side.
He got 60 fights.
I don't care what he has. He got 40 of them in Mexico, and we don't know who he was fighting. You can build up a nice record in Mexico. We got 14-year-olds going over to Mexico.
Jim's 17-2.
Right. You saw Creed. He went over there and was undefeated over there. But I think Plant has a style that can make it difficult
Right.
for Canelo. I don't think he was looking forward to really, he knows he's going to struggle because Caleb moves. He has power in both hands. He moves. He's slick. He doesn't get hit a lot. Now, he does have some stamina issues, which could be a problem. But I think it'll be a solid fight. People think Canelo's going to run through him. I don't see it that way.
I don't either.
I see it going a distance, and I think Plant can make it very competitive. I think he'll be able to put hands on him. Anybody who moves gives Canelo Alvarez problems. Will you agree with that, Jim?
Well, that's what I was going to ask Jim. Jim's a pro football scout. Jim, teams watch their opponent. This team beat that team. We have the ability to do the same thing. You and I watched the Mayweather fight against Canelo. Should Plant watch nothing but that fight and say, that's what I have to do against Mayweather. I'm sorry, against Canelo.
Well, Canelo's brother was kidnapped.
Oh,
before.
my
I
gosh.
believe
More
that fight.
Smokopedia
So,
facts.
Hey, listen.
Disregard that information.
Hey, we'll edit that out.
Disregard that.
Plant is like what my coaches used to call a hot dog. This is a guy, man, he's in the ring showboating. Listen, Canelo will beat this boy half to death. This guy's skills is not ready with 21 fights for Canelo. He's going to walk him down. He's going to beat him. His body's going to beat his head. I tell you what, if Plant can take a punch, he may never fight again after this beating that Canelo's about to put on him. Listen, this guy's a hot dog. He's a showboat. He got a lot of talent.
I thought
Jim,
you
I
liked
love
that.
it. I love it.
But doesn't that style?
But don't you love that
but
style?
won't that style
No,
go against Canelo?
No. This style's going to get him put in a hospital, get him carried out on a
Canelo
stretcher.
likes
Well, wait a minute.
Canelo likes those stiff guys.
Right. He's
that
gonna walk
stand in
right through
front,
him. That's right.
Like a Caleb
Saunders.
Smith. Billy
Only-
Joe was moving a little bit.
Only
Caleb
hope,
Smith.
Only hope Plant has if Canelo got 8 brothers.
Oh,
If
here
they
you go.
kidnap his favorite brother, he don't like 6 of them, but that favorite, that's Mayweather got to the favorite.
Disrespectful of Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is a champion for a reason.
21 fights.
Doesn't matter how
And
many fights.
experience.
It doesn't
Luther,
matter.
do you think that if, again, like I said, if he watches the Mayweather fight, what he did to Canelo, can he? I mean, obviously he's not Mayweather.
Yeah.
He's not
No,
Mayweather.
nobody can do
Right.
what Floyd did.
No
to Canelo.
question,
He
no
made him
question.
look like an amateur.
He
He's
did.
straight
He did.
styled
But
on
can
Canelo.
he do something? He's younger than Mayweather
He's
was. Doesn't have
younger.
the skill level, but he has more pop than Mayweather.
Right. He definitely has more pop.
Could he do a little mimicking?
I believe so. Plant is very athletic. He's very skilled in there. He moves.
And he's serious.
Yeah,
He
and
don't
he's always
a shot
Stop with this
against-
deserve.
Well, he
Stop,
don't
he has a
deserve
belt.
a shot.
He has a
He's a
belt.
champion.
Don't say this
He's a
deserve,
champion.
Jim.
He deserve-
There you go with that A side. He don't deserve this. If he has a belt, yes, he deserves it. What did Yildirim?
but
Did
having
Yildirim
said-
deserve it?
I've
Did
never
Caleb
right.
Smith deserve the
Right.
fight? Who did they beat?
I've never had a teacher call me A side. Yeah, I like that, Lou.
You're the B side. I'm the A side.
Not even a B.
Well, I think it'll be a competitive fight. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think you think that. I think
No,
you do think it's going to be a blowout. But I think, again, I repeat, if he follows that recipe, and he hits
Only thing about Caleb Plant, he does have a tendency to break his hands.
Here
His
goes the
hands are broken.
flip-flop.
No, I mean, it's a fact.
no, he
Mr.
does.
Butterworth.
Against Caleb Truex, he hurt his hand. He broke his hand.
Oh, man. You get
No,
flip
but
up.
that's a fact.
Do
Floyd
you-
Mayweather.
do
used
you
to-
and-
Floyd Mayweather stopped going that pretty boy style because his hands were brittle.
Yeah,
He started breaking his hands a lot.
Brittle.
Brittle hands.
But do you and Claudio agree that Plant don't deserve the
No.
fight?
What are you talking
Okay,
about?
well, let me ask you
What-
this then.
what-
Who deserves it right
Why
now?
did Caleb Smith deserve a fight? What does that even mean?
Right.
Who?
Caleb Smith. You don't even know him, but he got a Canelo fight.
Well, who should Canelo
Billy
fight
Joe
then?
Saunders.
Well,
Who's the
he's-
biggest challenge right
He's
now?
fought every legend He's fought 60 times. You know, these up and
50
coming
of
guys.
them were in
These up and
Mexico.
coming guys need to start eliminating themselves, and then you know, the best of the best move up to fight Canelo. The Plant
I
don't
think Plant's
deserve
one of
it. He don't deserve the beating he's going to take against Canelo. Canelo turned pro at 15. What was Caleb Plant doing at 15?
He turned pro in Mexico. We don't know half the guys he
He
beat.
turned pro at 15.
Yeah, and so did Devin Haney. He went down to Mexico, got built up his
Another
record,
one
and
that don't
came back.
deserve it. But Devin Haney's good.
Devin
He's
Haney
good.
is the truth.
He's
Stop
good.
disrespecting
He's good.
these-
When's the last time he fought?
He fought
He's
this
fighting-
year.
yeah.
This
he
year?
He fought Linares and,
Okay.
and styled on him.
Okay.
And he's about to fight again.
When?
Hopefully soon. Ryan
Okay,
Garcia
okay.
is
I thought it was a hopefully.
Listen,
I thought it was
Ryan
another
Garcia,
hopefully.
listen, if the mandatories fight him, he'll fight. Ryan Garcia was the
Oh.
mandatory, refused to fight.
There's
Jojo
fights. There's
Diaz.
professional fighters you can fight. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait.
if there's a mandatory.
If there's a mandatory, back in the day, a mandatory would get the
get
mandatory
stripped.
and fight the champion or
right.
get stripped. Now these mandatories, well, I don't want to fight him just yet. I'm going to fight here. That's the difference. He's the real boogeyman. Nobody wants to fight Devin Haney.
Yeah, he's good.
too
He's
skilled.
good.
He
He's
styles on everybody.
I
You
don't
can
know if
barely
he
hit
a
him.
boogeyman, but he's
Hey,
good.
well, why won't anybody fight him? Teofimo Lopez didn't fight him. They could have unified, and we could have had a real undisputed champion.
Lopez, eat him up.
I think Lopez is a little bit too much for him right now. I think Haney should slow up just a little bit. I know Luther wants to move these guys up and throw them to the wolves.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah, there's a time.
I think
There's a time.
Teofimo Lopez is a very solid fighter, but Devin Haney will make him look silly.
You think so?
All
Okay.
that power, those power punches, he's going to style on.
You don't think
And styles
you don't
make
think Lopez
fights.
make
And when
him miss?
Lopez beat
Make
him,
him
you'll
miss?
jump off the
No,
Haney bandwagon.
Haney will make Teofimo Lopez miss. That's
All
for
right.
sure. That's what I see happening.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to talk about some heavyweight fights that may happen, may not happen, but during the talks, we're right back with the boxing authorities. Welcome back to the boxing authorities. There's a few fights that are being talked about, and a guy, Dillian White, is always mentioned, but nobody's fighting him. And he's never even had a title shot. Okay. Now, you know, Luth, you always talk about guys ducking people and they're afraid of him. Why do you think that Dillian White, who does have a fan base in the UK, why do you
Does
think
he?
he?
Does he in the UK?
Yeah,
He has
UK,
a- he has
in
a
the UK.
small-
And
a
Jim says
small
what? There's the
family
world,
base.
not just here in the States. Okay, so I remember what you say.
Listen, Dillian White is another overhyped heavyweight from the UK. Did you see what an old Povetkin did?
Yeah,
to
he caught him with a
laid
shot.
him. No, didn't caught him. He laid him out. He
Yeah.
put him to sleep for 3 minutes.
Right, I know that.
You know, so
What did he
Dillian
do?
White
Rematch.
Wasn't close.
Well, listen, Povetkin had COVID
Oh,
before
Go
that
ahead.
fight. That's
Go
a
ahead,
fact.
Jim, that's you.
It was
Get him
documented.
with the
If you see that
excuses.
fight, Povetkin looked slow. In fact, as soon as the fight was over, he retired. He's done. He retired
Right.
from the fight. Dillian White could have had a championship fight. He had a chance to fight Luis Ortiz. Wilder said, fight Luis Ortiz, and if you win, you can fight me. He refused and chose to fight another 40-year-old. Dillian White.
Business move.
Dillian White had a chance to beat AJ, got knocked out. Listen, Dillian White had chances. He's coming over here. He can fight an Andrew Ruiz. He can fight
That's
a Charles
the next-
Martin.
Well, right
He's
now-
not fighting any of those guys.
Right now, they're talking, the three guys that are kind of, well, four guys, they even mentioned Ariola again, but Martin, Dillian White, and Andy Ruiz, those three. It's like whoever the two fight is going to fight the other one. Your thoughts on that? And are you interested?
Well, I'm very interested. Well, first of all, Luther's talking like the guy got 19 losses. He only got 2 losses. Luther.
Which is how many top heavyweights has he beaten?
He only got 2 losses.
how many top heavyweights?
Well,
Just
he's
give
a
me
top
any.
heavyweight.
He's not a top
Listen,
heavyweight
this
till
is
he
a
beats
guy
one.
that he has 21. He's 20 and 1 in MMA and kickboxing. He's 1-0 in MMA.
We're not talking
this
MMA.
This is a
Can we
lethal
focus?
weapon. This is a lethal weapon, Luke.
Lethal
He's
weapon.
35 years old. He's 6'5". He
can hit.
got a heck of a right hand.
He has a
And-
suspect chin. Say
you
that.
know, maybe. I
You
don't
know,
know.
definitely.
Your boy Lennox Lewis had
No, he didn't.
glass
He just got
chin.
caught.
He got glass
Stop.
chin.
He
had
got
glass
caught
chin.
twice.
Like
He
like
got
Christy
ups-
Martin said, he can glass chin.
He got
She
caught
wanted
twice.
to say
There's a
him.
difference.
She wanted to say Lennox Lewis had a glass chin.
No,
But hey,
no.
listen, this is a guy, I'm telling you, what I look for, my 2 favorite fighters of all time, was Gotti and Ward because they were evenly matched. They weren't great fighters. There's so many evenly matched. These guys can take the heavyweight division in boxing to a whole nother
Make it
level if
exciting.
they just fight one another. And I love this White. This White can beat anybody on any given day
Jim,
and lose to anybody on
You
any
talk
given
about.
day.
I've heard you say Errol Spence was stiff, right?
Pardon me?
You've said Errol Spence was stiff or something, right?
Sammy
seen-
Davis
have
Jr.
you seen-
You mean Sammy Davis Jr.?
Wow. Have you seen Dillian White?
Pardon me?
He's really stiff.
I never
Doesn't
said
have a lot of
Earl
speed.
Spence was stiff. I said
What did you say?
I
What?
said he did. He's a guy that had a great amateur career, but was
We're gonna pull the
ducking
tapes on
folks.
this.
He's 30 years old, only got 30 fights. That's a shame.
Jim, I'm going to ask you
3
something,
belts.
and you and I are, again, boxing historians. Luther, no, I'm kidding.
please.
But, you talk about non-title fights are very important to boxing. Again, when we were coming up, Ron Lau would be fighting some
Yes.
guys, the quarters,
Yes.
and the North,
Yes.
when they didn't have belts, okay? That's what made, it wasn't just when Muhammad Ali fought somebody big.
Thank you.
Okay, but it was when the number 6 fought the number 8, the number 7 fought number 9, Luth. And I think that would help the heavyweight
Listen and
division.
learn, Lou.
I think that would help the heavyweight division.
Well, you're proving my
So,
point.
okay,
Why hasn't Dillian White fought any of them?
Ortiz, that would be
Thank
a
you
nice
for proving
fight.
my point, Claudio.
Okay, no, I'm okay with it. Yeah, you made your point. But I'm saying,
He won't
and
even
I'm with
fight
you.
them. He's fighting guys 20 and lower.
But my next point is that are they too risk adverse? And I'm with you again. I'm a fan, but you have to look at it in both ways. But do you think that back to the original question? Do you think those three, and not Areola, who I give
Andy
credit for
Ruiz,
keep
Charles
trying,
Martin,
Ruiz,
Dillian
Martin,
White.
and Dillian White? You think those three are going to fight to get that top 4 spot, one of the top 4 spots, top 5?
Listen, I see. I have to go back to Luis Ortiz. Why isn't he in that mix? Dillian White.
Luther is a boxing historian.
Dillian White has refused to fight Ortiz because he knows what's going to happen. Ortiz is going to lay him out within 4 rounds.
What?
That's a guarantee. That's why he won't fight him. Dillian White is supposed to make his American.
That'd be an interesting fight, though. Would you not watch it?
I'd watch it to
That's
see
what I'm saying.
Dillian White
There's
get put to
money in-
sleep
but
again.
there's money in that fight, too.
I'd like to see Dillian White get put to sleep again, and that'd be done within 4 rounds. That's a fact. What I'm saying is Dillian White is going to make his American appearance. Why isn't he going to fight an Andy Ruiz or Charles Martin or
risky.
Luis Ortiz? Yeah, he's going to come over and fight a guy ranked in the top 20,
Lower
30,
10, yeah,
but
yeah.
not the top 10. If you really want to make a name, fight one of the big names.
Okay.
Hey, Luther,
That's all I want to see.
If you combine his kickboxing and
We're
MMA,
not talking-
we're
we're
talking,
not talking
we're
kickboxing.
talking, a guy that got 52 fights, Lou. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. You act like this guy's been ducking.
And
He's fighting. If he
he's
can't get a
fighting
boxing
who?
match, he'll knock you out
Well,
with
he's
his
fighting
foot.
Fighting
who?
Povetkin was the right fight for him, but he did
40
fight.
Povetkin.
Yeah, he was in there.
Povetkin
He
was
fought
a-
yeah, that was his second
I'm with you. I'm not
40-year-old
crazy
in
about
3
it.
fights.
Yeah.
He's fighting guys' weight, but he won't fight Luis Ortiz, who's in that age range. You like that age range?
How you
fight
know that he won't fight him? You
Because
gotta
he had
get-
chances to fight him and
When?
refused.
When?
Plenty.
When?
2018, 2019.
When?
He could have fought him anytime, Smoking Jim.
Are you sure?
Oh, that's a fact.
Wow.
That's a
I thought
fact.
Ortiz wanted Wilder. Then he wanted White. I didn't know that. I ain't
Listen.
know he swam to Miami because
Listen.
he wanted
After he lost
White.
the second
I thought he wanted Wilder.
Well, let me ask you, Martin. Let's go first. Martin, Ruiz. Who wins?
Oh, I got Ruiz. Charles Martin looked very good against Gerald Washington, but we've also seen Charles Martin quit in a couple fights, in a fight
Boy,
against
how he
AJ.
like Ruiz.
I'm with you
now.
with Ruiz on
No,
that.
I'm
Yeah.
saying
Martin Ruiz,
Charles
who do you
Martin
like?
is not a top of the line. He's
No.
a C
Well,
level fighter.
they could build it as the the fight
heavyweight
of the
elimination,
body, the
elimination,
soft
whatever.
bodies.
Okay.
Both of them got soft bodies. Hey, listen,
Andy Ruiz is
I
a
think
fighter.
Yeah.
Andy Ruiz is very underrated.
Yeah.
I think he beat Charles Martin. But I tell you what, it would be interesting. It'll be a
We'd
good
watch
fight.
it.
I would watch
Right.
it.
And that's my whole point. We're not just, we'd love to see the title fights, obviously. But again, when Jim and I were growing up in the 70s, even in the 80s, but especially the 70s, you had a lot of guys who didn't have belts that wanted to fight for that belt. They knew they had to get through a certain guy. I don't want to call them stepping stones, but they were good matchups, okay? Let me ask you this then. Ruiz gets by Martin. Does Ruiz beat Dillian White?
Yeah, I think he can definitely beat Dillian White. I'm not impressed with you guys about Dillian White.
Well, if you remember, Dillian White, I wasn't impressed at first. Not that I'm impressed.
so he beat a 40-year-old
yeah,
coming off of COVID.
I'm just saying,
Now
I'd
that-
like to
that-
see
that-
him get
that-
another shot.
Listen, I think Andy Ruiz is too much for him. He was too much for AJ the first fight when he was in shape. He'll be too much for Dillian White. Too much body work. You know,
he's a smart fighter.
And he's a smart fighter, fast hands.
Yeah.
Dillian White is big and slow, and his chin is questionable. I think he gets knocked out by Andy Ruiz as well.
Ruiz
very slow.
and,
Dillian White is
Dillian
very
White.
slow. He's not a fast puncher.
Again, I think Dillian White can beat anybody and he can lose anybody to
See?
anybody. It depends on that day. If he hits you, you're gone. You know, so it should be a great fight, a fight we want to see. This is the greatest era of heavyweight.
I don't know about that.
Jim, stop
I've
that.
ever
I don't know
seen.
about that. It's not even
No, no,
close.
I've never
It's
seen
not close.
so many
Look at the
evenly
That
matched.
doesn't
that's
mean it's the
mediocre.
greatest.
Evenly
No,
matched.
Again.
that's what you should say. This is the most
Evenly
evenly
matched.
matched heavyweight,
Mediocre.
but it's not the greatest.
Right.
It's
No.
the most evenly matched.
What
yes.
they say they won in the NFL, they won parity.
Parity.
There's parity.
But that doesn't
There's
mean it's the greatest.
parity, man.
Parity doesn't mean the greatest.
Right.
The greatest was the 70s. We can
Well,
all
you
agree
got,
on that.
You got a Cassius Clay here.
There's no Cassius Clay.
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
No.
Anthony
We have an
Joshua.
Anthony Joshua who we saw
we
quick
got-
fight.
Fury.
We got an
That's
Anthony
it.
Joshua.
You name me 3 better heavyweights at any time than Fury, Wilder, and
Ali,
Anthony-
Foreman, Frazier, Norton.
We can keep going.
No, there ain't
So we-
well, Norton shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I just said he's overrated, but he's better than these guys.
No.
Come on, Jim. You're putting these guys in a whole different range.
He had a better body. He had a better body.
That was the greatest.
Well,
If
that-
he was fighting
matter of
this one, he'd probably be on top.
That's gonna be
Norton.
one of our-
Norton would be on
His
top.
son still
possibly.
wouldn't speak to him.
Here you go with the
But that is going
family
to be
disputes.
that is going to be one of our topics. That's going to be one of our topics in one of our shows. Is we're going to compare the top 10 of I'm not sure which year the 70s against today.
I
So
like
that's
this
gonna be-
here.
that's
We
gonna
can't
be
do
like
the
this
70s.
here.
We got
Yeah,
maybe the
yeah,
80s.
we can do it. We can do
70s and
we
the
can do the
blowout.
60s.
70s is blowout.
We can do the 70s and the 80s.
We'll do that. Those,
I
we,
like this
we got a
here.
lot of shows
Or
to
the
do. Those will be
90s.
one
We
of
could
them.
do the 90s.
We're going to do those.
I want to include his kickboxing.
Oh, kickboxing. But you know what? I think I give Ruiz credit because after he lost to AJ,
He got in
you
shape.
could he got in shape, but he could have disappeared. But this shows that he wants it, and he's fighting some guys. He's challenging guys, and I think again the
He wasn't
heavyweight.
volunteer. He got a lot of money to come
but a
back.
lot of guys disappear. Look at some of the guys in the
got a
Klitschko
new-
era, anyway.
Did Buster Douglas disappears? That 24 million made him reappear.
25.
Yeah, 25 million made him reappear.
But am I right though? He's fighting consistently.
Right,
But one
right.
thing, Luke, you talked about. Okay, we talk about let's say. I mean, we'd be happy to see Ruiz and Ortiz.
Ortiz, yes.
There's a lot of fights that can be made, but again, by the time they fight each other, it's going to be 6 years from now because everybody's only fighting 2 times a year.
Exactly, and that's the problem. We need these heavyweights to fight more.
Now that you can
And
fight.
and you know what? One of the big problems, Tyson Fury is holding up this division.
You know, when you said that before, I didn't quite agree.
Every time you turn
you're right. You got
around,
a
there's
point.
some
You got a
drama
point.
with
You got a
him.
point.
The third Wilder
Get a
Fury
point.
fight should have taken place last year.
It should never had taken
It should have.
place.
Well, last year with COVID,
After
No,
that meeting, they
but
fought
AJ
twice.
fought.
They
Other
fought
fights
twice.
happened. It could have happened. He
But
refused.
this was a major fight.
He refused to fight last year. It could have happened. It definitely could have
Would the
happened.
money have been there?
The money would have been there. But
Wilder
the
should
thing
have
is,
took
it
the
could happen.
walkaway
It could
money.
happen.
Wilder should have took the walkaway money. It had
Oh,
something.
Jim, please. Fury's out here faking COVID. We don't know where. Now he's back in the UK.
How we get on that?
I'm
From
just
what we
saying,
was talking
you're talking about the heavyweight division. Right now, it's being held up by Fury.
You're saying that.
It's a fact. It's not. It's a fact. When's the last time that he fought? And he's holding up a belt. He should have been stripped.
That's like saying Muhammad Ali held it
No,
up for
that's
3.5
stop.
years.
No, that's not true. He wasn't able to fight. Other people were still fighting.
Well, but again, I hope that fight does come off, the Fury Wilder,
I'm
because
telling
there's
you,
so
like
much
I said,
anticipation
I'm
for it.
thinking
You
Fury's
always did.
going to avoid it, and we may see
And
a Wilder
nobody
versus
wants
White.
to see it.
Nobody wants to see
it.
Fury Wilder.
Nobody wants
No,
to. Fury
Jim,
got to carry.
Jim,
He got to carry everything.
I think a lot of
What are
people
you
want to
talking
see.
about?
Okay,
That's-
what other
that's one of
fight
the
right
biggest
now?
fights right now.
What other fight would? I think it's a crossover fight. Okay.
Everybody wanted to see Anthony, Cassius Clay, Joshua, and Fury. Wilder
Nobody
stepped
wanted to
in
see
with
that
that
in
bogus
the UK.
contract.
In the UK, they
yeah,
wanted-
Nobody
yeah.
wanted
That's
to
I
see
what
know
that
here a lot
fight.
of people want to see
Yeah,
it,
listen,
but
Listen,
not.
Fury's not that big of a name, and AJ's not that big of a
What are you
name.
talking
I
about?
think
They-
Fury is.
They put 120,000 in stadium.
UK, yeah.
Well,
And they're,
who carries
and
that
they're
fight?
asking if you could put seat people in PNC Park here. They're putting 120,000. Come on,
In the
So you don't
UK,
think
there's a
Fury's a
difference in
draw?
ticket prices.
You don't think Fury's a draw?
Oh my!
When he fights Wilder, yes. But if you look at his other fights, when he wasn't
Okay.
fighting, they had to give
Okay.
tickets away,
I
and
got
that's
it. I got
a
what you're saying.
documented
Okay.
fact.
All right.
I'm not making stuff
Now
up
you're
from
a banker.
Wikipedia like you
Now
do.
Okay,
you're a
worldwide,
banker.
I'm just
worldwide,
telling you what it is.
worldwide, who would be a bigger draw? Fury Wilder or
I
Fury
think
AJ?
Fury.
Or
I think
AJ
Fury,
Wilder?
I think Fury Wilder is the biggest fight right now because they
Can
have
Wilder
the
sell
trilogy.
it with those headphones? Can he sell
These
it with the
guys
It's
do
headphones?
not
more
about.
than that.
It's not about. You don't have to sell that fight.
Oh,
It's already sold.
Yeah, Fury's doing all the selling.
How is he doing all the selling?
He's doing my
walking around with his shirt off. Put his shirt on.
He's
Fury.
like
He
that
wanted to see
Irishman I like for the MMA.
He was making people
McGregor.
sick with that shirt
McGregor.
Right.
Shirt off and a gold
Goddamn.
chain hanging down his neck. Come on, man. He wasn't selling no fight.
Well, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about our legend of the week, Joe Calzaghe. Right back with the boxing authorities. Welcome back to the boxing authorities. Well, today's legend is Joe Calzaghe. Retired undefeated, one of the few fighters who ever retired undefeated. Was one of the guys, he was the boxer puncher. He could hit you, good movement, great feet, athletic. Fought everybody that you could possibly fight in his era. Luther, your thoughts on Joe Calzaghe?
Very solid fighter, underrated for most of his career. I think he had those two defining victories. Finally, when he came over to U.S., he got Bernard Hopkins, which was questionable. Some people thought Bernard Hopkins won that, but he also got Roy Jones. I wish we could have saw those guys both in the peak of their career. I
That
think it would have been a
big
much
time.
better fight.
That would have been big
But very solid, skilled. And as we look at some of his highlights, man, he, power in both hands, uppercut right there, gets him down. Solid. You can't say enough about him. One of the greatest of all time. I just wish we could have seen more of him here in the USA. And him and Roy Jones and Bernard could have fought when they were younger, more in their prime. Because I think towards the end of the career, he had more left than those guys had.
Yeah.
But solid career. You can't say enough about him. Undefeated, 46-0.
46. You know, the
beat
thing
that.
I loved about him, besides being an Italian, that always helps. But he threw punches from different angles.
Yeah,
And what do we always talk about? Uppercuts. Look at that. I mean, he threw different shots. He wasn't predictable. Jim, I know you like that. He just wasn't an orthodox fighter. He was unorthodox, who was a good athlete with power.
Yeah.
And he could take a pretty good hit. Your thoughts on Joe Calzaghe?
If he'd have fought Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. in their prime, they still have got beat.
No,
You know, the one thing...
Nobody was beating Roy in
the
his
one-
prime.
No, he'd have
Stop
got
the
beat.
blasphemy.
He got beat
Stop.
just like... There was only 3 years difference, you know.
It makes it sound like
yeah,
one was
yeah,
40.
No, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
Rocky's only
prime.
3
That's
years
after
younger
Roy
than
Jones
Roy.
had come down from
Hey,
heavyweight
listen,
and had
when he
taken a
fought
couple
Roy,
L's. Stop.
He wanted to fight Roy at super middleweight. Roy insisted on light heavyweight, still got beat. Hey, listen, you know, this is a guy and Luther made me lose my train of thought. But his punch
that ain't hard to
output,
do.
he was so busy. He stayed, you know, in great stamina. But the one thing that works against a southpaw, he was southpaw, is a right hand. And Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins dropped him with the right hand. Roy hit him with an uppercut. I remember that fight that I thought would take him, and he walked right through it. The guy could take a heck of a punch. Now, I'm saying if they fought 10 times, he would beat Bernard Hopkins all 10 times, even when Bernard was in federal pen. But Roy Jones might have got two out of the 10. But I tell you what, man, you can't say enough. Very underrated fighter. Should go down in history as one of the all-time great. I think the second greatest next to Sugar Ray Robinson in that
class?
particular weight class. Yeah.
The thing is, I said I loved about him is, and watch a guy when he's on the ropes, they throw the same punch. Calzaghe was everywhere. If he recovered, what did he do? Uppercut, go to the body.
He knocked
and he
people
was
out
quick.
with body shots.
Yeah,
He did. Him and Jones hit the body a lot.
Yeah, Jones
Okay.
had them
But-
long arms.
Yeah, but I was always impressed with Calzaghe's hand speed, but he had pop. Now, some people say, he would pity pat. A little bit of pity pat, but then he'd come back with some good shots.
Right, he'd mix it up.
He'd mix
He
it
would
up.
Mix up his shots.
And again, he was a good athlete.
Could fight
he was
great
a
on
draw.
the inside. That's what Roy could never beat him because he
Good
could
point.
get on the inside
Good
and
point.
still work.
Good point.
He could work his
See,
combinations on the
that's
inside.
what I'm saying. And at prime, Roy would never get there. I mean, he was too quick. You know, he didn't have to fight on the inside. He
It-
come
it
in
might
with
have
something
ended
with a
sooner
wild.
with a
No,
Prime
no,
Roy.
nobody was Prime Roy. Nobody was beating him. You know,
Well,
towards
they
the
were
end,
very
everybody
similar.
started
They were
beating
very
him.
similar because Jones was another one.
He didn't
that
have
threw
Jones'
punches.
speed. He didn't have
Oh,
Jones'
no, no, no.
speed.
He
His
was
foot
not that.
speed.
It wasn't
no,
that.
no, no,
They were
no.
quick.
No, no,
was
it wasn't
fast.
Roy Jones.
No, I didn't
Stop
say
that.
that.
He was
But it
fast.
wasn't a blowout.
Oh,
It wasn't a blowout.
It was a blowout. Nobody
I
had
don't
Roy Jones' hand speed.
He was
Maybe
quick.
Floyd.
Sugar Ray, don't forget him. He had some good
I'm talking.
hands.
I'm talking about in his
Calzaghe
in his
had
era.
the better chin.
He had the better chin. Who had more
Later
power?
on, later on. Oh, Roy. I've seen Roy hit guys going backwards.
No question.
Roy. I've
Loved
seen Roy
his
had the
unorthodox
power.
way.
I had him with the speed, the foot speed, the agility.
But again, Tarver caught him pretty good.
Yeah.
And
he
then
was
again,
and
that's
I
when he
think-
started going down. He had
Well,
come down.
hell, you gotta start somewhere. I mean,
once
you know.
there's a different Roy. It's pre-heavyweight Roy
Oh, wait.
and after
You
Roy.
got mad at
I'm
Jim.
taking
whatever he
one.
said.
Listen,
Pretty
Prime
boy and
Roy-
money, Cassius and Muhammad.
No,
Now
no,
you're
I'm
doing
saying
that.
prime and not prime.
Deion
Prime-
Sanders?
Prime Roy. Hey, they're both from Florida. Prime Roy, listen, nobody was beating him. Once he got up to heavyweight, put on that
But wait a
weight,
minute.
tried
When
to
he
lose
fought
it, he was
Tarver,
done.
when he fought Tarver, he
had
got
come down
clocked.
from heavyweight. He had come down from
him,
heavyweight.
Go ahead, get him.
Well, am I lying? He had come down from heavyweight,
was
just
still-
beat
well,
John
he
Ruiz.
still
No,
good.
okay, wait a minute. He came down from heavyweight. He should have been even stronger.
No, he
fought
lost
big
all
men.
that weight. He had to lose
But he was
all that
stronger
weight.
though. He was hitting the 500
He was
heavy.
never the,
He was hitting
never
the
the
200.
He was never the same after he came down from heavyweight,
His chin
losing that
was
weight.
never
His
good.
chin, yeah.
Well,
He
he was
wasn't-
getting hit more. Maybe he didn't. Maybe, but see,
He
Prime
never-
Roy never got hit.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
this
Because he
Roy,
never fought Calzaghe.
He never got. He wouldn't have got hit in Prime. He would have never got
Well,
hit.
he'd have
then.
been having to fight going backwards because Calzaghe moved him back the whole
He
time.
could fight going backwards. He could fight going ahead. Listen,
Boy, he
the
can
most
taste-
the most
We know
dangerous
Roy
fighter.
know how to taste his blood.
The
Thanks to
most dangerous
Calzaghe.
fighter we've ever seen is the second Montel Griffin
Say it
fight.
over. What?
The second Montel Griffin fight,
what?
where Montel Griffin
Is
faked
he in
an
the Hall of
injury.
Fame? Is he in the Hall
Listen,
of Fame?
I'm just saying, when I saw him come,
just saying, was
that
he
was
in
the
the Hall
most
of Fame?
vicious I've seen a boxer in a
You're
long
talking
time.
about somebody that's
he
in the Hall
he
of
channeled
Fame,
his
right?
inner Mike that night.
Yeah.
He destroyed that man.
Was he a great fighter? You
He
talking
been,
like
he been in the first
you
time.
mentioned him
Listen,
like he a
listen,
legend.
Roy Jones.
Is he the legend,
Joey?
Listen,
Montel
Roy
Griffin.
Jones is the only fighter in
Montel
history
Griffin.
that played a semi-pro basketball game,
Yeah.
came back
agree
that
with
night,
that.
and knocked
Against
out
Eric
somebody.
Lucas.
Come
Eric
on, man.
Lucas, who was the super middleweight champ eventually.
Right, exactly.
No,
so
no.
it wasn't a
Roy was
slouch.
great. No,
This
Roy was
guy was
unbelievable.
special. Prime Roy beats everybody
And,
at that
and I
weight.
think we
Love
like
his rapping. His rap songs made it big.
How
too.
many fighters come in on their own rap song?
That's true.
Oh man.
But you know the thing that I think all three of us like, and we've been critical of today's fighters, is no uppercuts, no body shots, different angles
Yeah,
of
yeah.
fighters. Well, let me ask you this, Jim. Why doesn't a fighter today look at, of course, in baseball, they don't look at the hitters of the 70s, 80s and say, okay, this worked. How come I don't copy it? But how come a fighter today doesn't look at a Jones? I'm not saying they have to be as athletic as Jones and Calzaghe. I get that. They're not going to be. But why don't they throw different punches from different angles?
Well,
Why
they
do you
don't
have to be a robot?
They don't have to. The problem with the fighters today is boxing is the only sport I know that you have a legendary trainer, somebody one-on-one that can train you. You got your own personal trainer.
Then why don't they-
And they still won't learn
Right.
the sport. These
Right.
guys.
Come on, come on.
Who would want to train a Wilder? He don't want to listen. Like Christy Martin
you know
said.
you gotta throw this-
Like
hold up,
Christy
you
Martin.
would've
Like
slandered.
Christy Martin always say that she would never train anybody anymore because they just want yes people
want yes
around
men.
her.
But that doesn't
You know
help
what I
the
mean?
guy.
That don't help
No,
the
no, all right,
guy.
all right, before
These
you all
guys
start-
are amateurs
All
as
right.
professionals.
Enough
I
slander,
wouldn't
Jim.
I would hold up their purse if they couldn't throw some of
here-
the combinations.
All
I'm
right,
looking
enough
for.
of this slander, Jim. Listen, but the reason people can't fight like Roy Jones is because nobody has
I
that
get it.
athleticism. Now, there is one, and I've been speaking highly. He's from Philadelphia.
Ortiz. We're not talking about Ortiz again.
Jerron Boots Enos. We saw him when he was an amateur. He's the only one that reminds me of Roy Jones.
Still
We're
look
not
like
saying
amateur
he
to
has
me.
to be-
He still look like
and
amateur.
you, and you apparently haven't been watching him enough. Put your glasses on next time he fights, Smoking Jim.
We're not
He's
saying to
power
be
both hands.
as great as
No.
Jones or Calzaghe, but if you see that you're going back and hitting somebody or throwing from different angles,
listen, you know how
different
hard that-
angles.
only certain guys can do that.
No, everybody can do
No,
it.
no, no. Only
Somebody
only
can't throw
certain
it.
guys can do that effectively. Let me say that. Roy Jones Jr. was
Give
one
it a
of a
try
kind.
anyway.
Jerron Boots Ennis is the only one I see has that type of skills, that type of movement, that type of body control in both
Average at
hands.
best.
Okay,
Average at
we'll
best.
see. He will be undisputed at welterweight and probably 154.
Hey,
I'm telling
Claudio,
you right now.
mark the time. Next year at this time, he'll be off of that bandwagon. You get off a bandwagon quicker than anybody I know.
What bandwagon did
You
I ever
never
get off?
crash, do you?
When did I ever get off a bandwagon? I'm not like you. You'll throw somebody under the bus quick.
That he does.
And then-
I'm his friend. He's my friend.
He's my favorite fighter. Oh,
he's
but he
no
quit
good.
4 times.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Come on, Jim.
I know, that's all right. Well, like I said, Joe Calzaghe definitely deserving of the Hall of Fame, definitely deserving to be
Yeah,
legend,
yeah, true legend.
on our show. And I always enjoyed watching him. He was a
Let me
personality
ask
as
you,
well.
in Roy and Bernard Hopkins' prime, do you agree with me? Calzaghe beats them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Nobody's
2-1
beating
with the boxer.
Well, I mean, whatever, man. You are that old generation. You all think the same. I'm part of the new school.
We're right school. You might be
Old-
new school. We're
listen,
right school.
You guys are one of the
He
old
beat him.
generation.
He beat him.
He beat him when they were
Oh,
under
you know, it's the
prime.
same thing again. Like again with Joe Lewis, he was 86 when he fought
Oh,
Rocky
he was
Murray. He was 36. He wasn't old.
was broke. He
Joe
couldn't
Joyce.
train.
You know what?
I'ma go
and it would
Jim.
have been an
He couldn't
easier
afford
fight
to
for
get training
Marciano
time.
because Lewis came. If Jones would have come, it'd have been easier for Calzaghe because
Oh,
he could
no,
hit.
no,
And
Prime
he did
Roy
knock
would
him
have
out.
walked all over Kozagi, but they
well
fought when
bad.
they fought, and Joe won.
We
And
got
he looked
some.
great doing
We,
it.
we got some fights coming up that I think are interesting. I guess the Teofimo Lopez Carabosis is on again. Oscar De La Hoya against
Oscar.
Vitor Belfort. I'm really looking forward to that fight. And somebody who I didn't appreciate when he was a champion was David Hay. I appreciated
For
him
good
his
reason.
last. Well, yeah,
That was terrible.
his last 2
Oh,
fights
that-
against Tony Bellew,
Oh.
I gained a lot of respect for him. He got the
Another-
hell knocked out of him
Another
against.
overrated UK fighter.
I know, but I didn't appreciate him much then. Maybe
Well,
I should.
we didn't have to appreciate him because he wasn't very good, and he's
But I'm looking
coming
forward to
back
him
for
fighting.
what?
I like him now.
I'm
more
not.
than
I
that.
wish he would have stayed a promoter or trader.
What do you
Why
think
is
about
he coming back?
Carabosis and?
Teofimo Lopez is going to knock him out. It's going to be 6 rounds. He's knocking him out, whether it's in Australia in his home country or it's here or it's in Dubai, wherever they put it. Teofimo's too much for him. I saw Kambosos in his last fight against Lee Selby, and I thought he could have lost that one. Not very impressive. A lot of heart, but that heart is going to get him knocked out in 5 rounds against Teofimo Lopez. Not close.
WBC super featherweight title. Oscar Valdez, who again he's had some good years against Robson Cancao.
Yeah.
How you say that?
Well,
I'm just good with Italian names, not these other.
Oscar Valdez, yes, he looked great in his last fight, but all I want to know is when are you going to fight Shakur Stevenson? He's been chasing you for 2 divisions. There's no excuses.
After this fight.
After
He's
this
got to.
fight. Jamel Herring, Shakur Stevenson are going to fight. The winner, Oscar Valdez, needs to fight them. That's going to be for at least three belts, and I think Shakur comes out of that. He can't be hit, Still waiting for his power to develop, but he can't be hit. I'm waiting for Oscar Valdez to fight him, but it should be a solid fight.
Smoking Jim, AJ versus Alexander Usyk coming up in September. We're going to go over that a lot more, but I know you're a big AJ fan.
Well,
Is it going to be close at least?
You got Anthony Cassius Clay Joshua,
gosh,
the
stop.
biggest name in boxing, carrying boxing. And I tell you what, in any generation, he walks over his opponent. So it's going to be great. Look at him, man.
Yeah. Looks like a bodybuilder.
Great.
Where's his heart?
Great.
He looked that good against Ruiz too.
Yeah,
That body-wise.
Coming in, he looked that good.
This
Going
guy's,
out,
I mean, look at him. He's built pretty good too.
Usyk is an undersized
And he's had
heavyweight.
some hard times against some heavyweights that aren't
Yeah,
nowhere
yeah.
near AJ's
Derek
level. but-
Chisora gave him
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Witherspoon, the fight before that gave him work. I appreciate his heart, but he's going to get knocked out by AJ.
mandatory.
He's a cruiserweight. He's a cruiserweight.
Are you guys excited about Oscar De La Hoya coming back?
He looks good training. I'd like to see Floyd punish him again. That's what I'd like to
He
see.
beat Floyd, but he didn't get the decision. But
Oh,
Oscar's a
stop.
legend.
Floyd styled on him.
And he's a better fighter than he is a promoter.
All right. Well, we're going to finish up the show as always with our popular segment, the mailbag. Check out our mailbag. Continue to send us great questions. You know what? This question here is from Peter. From Philadelphia. How did you 3 meet? Real quick. November of 2003, I met Smoking Jim at West Virginia at a fight, And to be honest with you, we locked eyes, we said hello, and a blessing and a half to not only call him a partner here, but a friend. And through Jim, I met another blessing in Luther Dupree. And let me say this real quick. I'm corny, I'm being honest. If I know I'm going to see them the next day, I'm in a good mood. No matter what I'm going through, I know I'm going to see Jim, if they're going to be on my show, if we're going to be on this show together. You can't be in a bad mood with these two great people. They're great at what they do. They could talk about a broomstick, and it would be great, but they're even better people. How'd you guys meet real quick?
Oh, two legends right here, man. I met Smoke and Jim. I used to listen to him on the radio, and then we ended up doing a show.
You said you used to turn them off.
I used to turn him off when you come on. He started screaming, I had to turn it down. And then we finally started working together. And then Jim brought you to our show, Steel City Sports World, and Colada just was a big hit. We got a lot of fans saying, bring him back. He needs to be part of the main rotation. Two of the best guys I've ever met. I want to be just like them when I grow up.
Oh, no.
Hopefully I'll get there one day.
Jim, any final words?
Yeah, a lot of people just call me the Godfather. I'm the Godfather of Luther's daughter.
All right. Well, like I said, I appreciate these guys, love these guys, and we love doing the show for you. As always, we hope you enjoy watching it. Tune in again next time on the Boxing Authorities.